With the holidays right around the corner, it's time for me to start planning all the festive meals and treats for the season. Frozen Washington red raspberries are the ultimate holiday shortcut to flavor, as they are picked at peak ripeness and frozen within hours to lock in their bright, sweet, tart taste. I love raspberries in my desserts, and boy does this cran raspberry pecan tart sound delicious. Grown by passionate farmers in Washington state, they're frozen with care to ensure top quality and food safety, and it always feels good to support local American farmers. And here's the best part. They're always in season. When you buy American-grown frozen raspberries, you're getting fresh off the field flavor all year long. You can find them at Costco, Kroger, Meijer, and Winco Foods. Make sure to look for product in the U.S. on the bag. Check out True Fruit Mars Hyper Chilled Chocolate-Covered Raspberries and Smucker's Raspberry Jam. Want to learn more details on where to find American frozen red raspberries plus recipe ideas and cooking tips? Head to redraz.org. That's redrazz.org. You'll find participating retailers as an inspiration for every meal, plus info on how these berries go from farm to freezer with quality you can taste.
All right, fellow romantasy lovers, I've been waiting to talk about this one because it completely took my weekend. The epic romantasy finale, Dawn of Chaos and Fury by Melissa K. Roerick, is finally here. And if you're into anything Book Talk is raving about right now, you need this. This is the fourth and final book in the Legacy series, a dark romantasy packed with fae, dragons, shifters, vampires, witches, meddling gods, you name it. And what I love about this world is that it's not your typical medieval fantasy backdrop. Think high fantasy meets modern tech. Magic everywhere, but people are still texting, driving, dating, using computers. It gives big Crescent City vibes in the best way. And honestly, I got so pulled into the emotional roller coaster. The heroine is dealing with depression and anxiety, and the way the story handles her mental health made the stakes feel so real. Plus, the tropes. Fated mates, morally gray chaos, one bed, touch her and die. It's basically a Book Talk bingo card of everything we love. Now, if you haven't read the series yet, this is the series finale, so don't start here. But the good news, all 4 books are out now, and they make such a great gift for that friend who is constantly reading romantasy and keeping up with every online book trend. Dawn of Chaos and Fury is on sale now, available for the first time as a Kensington trade paperback and ebook. So grab your copy and dive into the chaos. You can find Dawn of Chaos and Fury by Melissa K. Roerick wherever books are sold in print and in ebook.
Welcome to our mini-series, The 8 Days of Dating Optimism, your pre-New Year reboot that helps you rebuild hope and confidence for finding love in the new year. Enjoy!
She didn't move to a new city, do anything to her appearance, go to some new secret place to meet people, or undergo any other drastic change. Yet, all of a sudden, men were coming out of the woodwork. Everywhere she went, she was being approached, being asked out, even without changing anything about her routine. In day 2 of our 8 days of dating optimism, this is a reminder to just say yes, because shifting your energy can drastically change your love life. In this episode that originally aired in 2017, we're chatting with our friend Sheryl, who shares the outlook that completely transformed her dating life and ultimately led her to her husband. We loved hearing her story because we'd only known her as someone happily married. And it's easy to think love just falls into place for people who have found their person. This episode stayed with us because it was so inspiring to hear how she was able to take control of her love life in a way that really just changed how she was showing up. We dive into the power of your energy and how being open and approachable can change who comes into your orbit. We talk about the freedom that comes from dating outside your type and why expanding your options often creates the very opportunities you've been waiting for. If you ever felt stuck in old patterns or unsure how to shift your dating trajectory, this episode is a reminder that sometimes the biggest changes start with the smallest internal shifts. Make sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen so you instantly get access to the next episode in the series. And while you're there, you know what? Leaving us a 5-star review truly helps us more than you know. It's the best gift you could possibly give us this season. Enjoy! I
I know for a while now we've been telling you guys to filter better, to pick your dates better, and to go on less dates, but higher quality dates. But there is something to be said about saying yes to opportunities. And that's exactly what our guest today is here to talk about. Her name is Sheryl. Hi, Sheryl.
Hello.
Hey.
And of course, Julie's here too. I'm going to give some stats about Sheryl. She's 36 years old, originally from New York. She's been in San Francisco for 6 years, and she is happily married.
Yep.
Now, I don't know anything about the story, but I just know that you having the mindset of saying yes to every opportunity led you to meeting your now husband.
Yes.
Okay, let's hear the story.
Okay, so I felt like I was kind of in this point in my life where I really wanted to meet somebody. And I was living in Washington, D.C., and I just felt like things weren't going well. So I get this job offer in Bahrain, of all places, and I thought, I don't know if this is the right fit for me. I don't know if I should take it. And I felt like I just need a sign. So one day I'm on the DC Metro. I'd lived there at this point for a year. I know exactly where I'm going. And I stand up to look at the map just to kind of see which stop is next because I wasn't paying attention. And this guy comes up to me and says, "Excuse me, are you lost?" No, I wasn't lost. But I stopped for a minute and I said, "Yeah, I am. I'm not sure which train I'm on and I'm not sure which way I'm headed. Do you know?" So he gave me directions and we started talking and he said, "I know this is kind of weird, but can I get your number? Can I take you out on a date?"
Oh.
And he had these very big muscles. He was in the military. And I looked at him and my first immediate reaction was, "No, you're not my type. I'm not into that." But I said, yes. Yes. So the next day I'm at my school. I worked in a school and you don't meet anyone at schools, especially as a woman. You do not meet any men at schools.
Why is that?
I don't know. There's just not as many male teachers.
Oh, it
just doesn't happen. Most of the single people I know are teachers and there's not a lot of opportunity in a school.
So before you keep going, did you at this point consciously decide that you were going to say yes to things because of this job opportunity? Or was it more just like in the moment you decided to say yes?
In the moment. So I had the job on my mind and I was thinking, should I, shouldn't I? And I just couldn't make up my mind. And before that, I'd been pretty decisive about things. But I knew what I really wanted was to be in a really great relationship. Mm-hmm. And the job offer was just kind of like, should I just go out and do this? Because nothing else, my life here is not working out. I also didn't really like my job very much, but I felt like I really wanted to meet somebody. And so the job offer was on my mind. And I felt like, give me a sign I need to stay here. Give me a sign that that's not right for me. And then that guy came along and I just said, yes.
Okay.
So the next day I'm at school. I'm walking the same way I usually walk, just down one of the halls. And this guy passes me and asks me where something is. And we start chatting. And he had come to school that day to do some kind of insurance thing with some of the teachers.
So you had never seen him before?
I'd never seen him before. So we start talking a little while. And he tells me that weekend, him and his church group, they're going to see a baseball game. And do I want to go? I don't care about baseball. I don't go to church. But I said,
yes.
Yes. Yes. Okay, I'll go. And I started to think, you just never know. You never know who could be the right fit for you. Mm-hmm. You never know what you'll learn. You'll never know what you'll experience. So why not just go out and give it a try? And so that kind of started the ball rolling. And suddenly I felt like I was wearing a sign. Everywhere I went, I was getting asked out on dates. And I'd never had that happen before. In the most unlikely places, by people I would absolutely say no to. So in this span of, it turned out to be a month, I went out with a guy who smoked. I don't like smoke. I don't smoke. I went out with a military guy. I wasn't really into that. I went out with a guy who had a son. That wasn't something I thought I'd want to do. I went out with someone who was way too short, someone who was way too tall, people of different religions. Just that normally in my head, I would say, that's not my type. That's not what I want. That's not my husband. But I did it. And I did it for the entire month. And it was amazing because the more I said yes, the more opportunities I got. And they just kept happening. So then at the end of that month, I kind of was feeling, I'd felt very encouraged by it. Mm-hmm. But then nothing was really going anywhere. I was learning a lot and everything was really great.
Big muscle guy wasn't Your future husband?
No.
Your now husband?
It worked out for a little while, but no. So then it was Halloween. And normally I would figure out what to dress up as to get the most male attention. It sounds sad, but it's true. And that year I was like, I've just had this nonstop male attention and nothing has really felt like anything real. So I purposely dressed up. A friend of mine had just gone to Morocco and bought me a Moroccan dress, which is like kind of a big sack.
Yeah,
and
it's a muumuu.
Yeah, and so I wore that.
So really sexy.
Really, yeah. So I wore that, and my friends are like, no one's going to flirt with you. And I was like, you know what?
Okay.
That's okay. I've just gone through this whole month, really almost about 6 weeks of saying yes, and this is a nice little break. So it was a Sunday night, Halloween that year, and we went out, my friends and I went out to a couple bars, and there wasn't much going on, surprisingly, because it was Sunday night, not many people in costumes. So we said, let's go to one more bar. After a couple, let's go to one more bar and see if anyone's dressed up. We go to one more bar. People are dressed up. Meanwhile, my husband, without knowing, he had the same conversation with his friends. Let's go to one more bar. So he went there. And so I'm sitting there chatting with friends, and these people who had a group costume, they were dressed as cockroaches, came in. Very
super
creative.
Sexy also.
Yeah, very attractive.
Yeah, and they were pretending to attack people. So they pretended to attack me. So it's funny, whatever. And then this guy was dressed as Marilyn Monroe, and he jumped in, and he had fishnet stockings. And because I was a princess, I had all these bangle bracelets on.
Oh.
And so they got stuck on his fishnet stockings. And he didn't like that at all. And I'm trying to pull them off. And he's like, stop it, stop it. And meanwhile, there's this whole scene. Everyone's watching, everyone's laughing. And so my husband was dressed as a Chilean miner because it was 2010 when the Chilean miners were
I remember that.
Around. And he comes running over. He has a little flashlight. He shines his flashlight. And he says, I'll save you. And he untangles me.
Ooh.
And yeah, and it was fun. It was funny. And then he walked away. I walked away. And my friend said, you should talk to that guy. He's obviously Chilean. And at the time I'd come back from Spain and I was wanting to speak Spanish. So I went up to him and I said, do you speak Spanish? And he said, no. And I said, where are you from? And he said, Slovakia. And I was like, well, I'm moving to Bahrain. I'm like, whatever. I don't care. So I go back to where I am. And in my head, I thought, I'm not interested. I thought he was too short for me. I thought, well, this is probably not going to go anywhere, whatever. So I go back to where I am, and he comes over and just starts talking to me. And then we start talking, and we have this great conversation. And he gives me, at the end of the night, he gives me his business card.
Whoa.
And I just say, yeah, I might lose this. So then he says, well, can I get your number? So I give him my number. And the next day, he texted me, and he said he had just moved to the U.S., and he says, it wasn't very grammatically correct. And he says, I don't really remember a lot about last night. I was pretty drunk, but I remember you, and I can't wait to see you again.
Aww.
Yeah. And meanwhile, he was on a visa, and he had about a month left. And so my roommate said, red flag, red flag, red flag. He's got a month left.
Yeah.
And he told me, I'm going back to Slovakia. I don't know for how long.
But you said yes.
But I said yes.
Mm-hmm.
I had a little downturn of, this isn't working. And then I said, you know what? Yes, I'm going to try it. Yes. And it worked out. We've been together for 7 years. He stayed. He came back about a month later. He was supposed to be looking for an apartment, but instead kind of moved in and didn't leave, which was fine and nice. And then about a year later, I said, hey, I want to move to San Francisco. Do you want to come? And he said, yes. And so we did. And then a couple months after that, he asked me to marry him. And I said, yes. And so we did.
So you've been together for 7 years, married for how many years?
4.5.
Wow.
Yeah. So a lot of yeses.
A lot of yeses. So before you went into this yes mentality, what was your mentality like?
I feel like I'd had just a lot of really negative experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And I realize now I thought I was a really open-minded person. I lived in lots of cities. I lived in lots of countries. I thought I was open-minded,
Mm-hmm.
but I realized I wasn't, because when thinking about guys, I thought, well, I want a guy who's tall, and I just had these expectations of boxes, I guess, of where someone would fit. And then when I started my yes mentality, I went out with, like I said, all different guys I never would have said yes to. And from each one of them, although they didn't work, I learned something. I learned so much about them, about myself, about the kind of guy I want, about the kind of guy I don't want. And I thought I knew all of that just by avoiding them.
What was something that you learned in one of them that was surprising?
I think what was really surprising to me was the military guy. I just thought that's not my type. Like I said, big muscles. Just his personality wasn't something I was ever really attracted to. And once I got to know him just a little, that all changed. He was so sweet. He was so sweet and so wonderful. And I think I realized really that someone's exterior, it doesn't really mean a whole lot. You know, he presented in this very like tough guy way, and he wasn't. He was really sweet. So
I was reading this article from New York Times by this guy named Tony Schwartz. The article is called The Power of Saying Yes. And he says, starting with yes energizes, creates safety and trust, and fuels creativity. And I think that applies to dating as well. I think that's partly why in San Francisco, people aren't so willing to approach people at bars, because even though we're not vocally saying yes, a lot of us have a no on our faces when we're out and about.
Yes.
But if you approach situations even with a yes in your mind, your exterior also exudes that energy. So he says how he learned this by going to an improv class, and we talk about improv quite a bit, where they teach you that every time a line is fed to you, your response always starts with yes and. Right? So it could be, are you a man? I'm not a man. But in improv, they teach you to say, yes, and I got my surgery in 2005. Right? So you kind of just keep on rolling with it, even if it is a joke, even if it takes you out of your comfort zone. Something you said that I think really coincides with this is that you felt like you were wearing a sign. Like, come approach me. I'm approachable. And I think that's what we all need to work on. I know there are days that I am not approachable at all. I don't even want to approach myself. It takes work to be approachable. So when you felt like you were exuding this yes kind of energy, what was different about you physically? Did you feel like you were, smiling more? What was your body language like?
That's a good question, because I felt more approachable. I felt in my head, I was like, come talk to me. I want to get to know you. I don't care who you are. I want to get to know you. I felt that way. And I thought I was that way before. I thought I was like, oh, I'm easy to approach. But I realized I wasn't. I wasn't wearing that face. I didn't have that attitude. I didn't have that behavior. And once I started changing my mind about it, my face started to change, my body started to change, the way I talk started to change, all of it. I was just completely open and completely just ready to try.
And specifically, can you recall what your body language was like?
Oh, that's a good question. I guess I would say it was more encouraging. In not, sometimes you go to bars or something, you might have your arms crossed. You might be kind of looking down, not smiling at people. I felt like my body language was just in a very inviting, open way. I guess not arms crossed, standing straight, smiling, looking at people, engaging with people. Yep.
They say that what happens a lot of times when you approach someone, a stranger, you give them the half turn. So your body's not fully turned towards them. And then you turn your head to talk to them. And that's actually how you should approach dogs, to seem not as intimidating.
Wow.
But what happens is it makes you seem very closed off when you're half turned. So they encourage you to fully turn towards the person you're talking to. And another sign is you mirror each other's movements. So if they pick up their drink, you pick up your drink, and you drink as well. And sometimes when you're in this open mindset, you just automatically do these things. So I would encourage people to know your own body language. Next time you feel like you're in this very yes mode, take note of what you're doing exactly. Maybe it's even just smiling a lot.
That's actually really interesting that you say that, because I didn't think of it until you said that. But I remember physically, like I said, on the DC Metro, staring at that Metro map. And when he came and talked to me, I would have normally just kind of looked over my shoulder and been like, I'm fine, I'm not lost.
Yeah.
But I remember turning my entire body around.
Interesting.
I remember that specifically. And thinking, why am I doing this? I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do this. And I'm going to see what happens. And I did.
And those moments, even though this guy didn't work out, those are moments of human connection that we don't normally have. I mean, today I remember being in the elevator and this guy's like, what floor are you going to? Normally I would just not make eye contact, not turn towards him, like floor 1 or whatever. But today I was like, I turned towards him, I smiled and I said, floor 1. And he gave me back this really big smile and said, have a lovely day. And it made my day because those are just moments of connection that we don't normally have. So I would encourage everyone to just take that moment, turn towards the person you're talking to and make eye contact with them without having expectations of this going anywhere romantically, right? It's just connecting with another human being.
And I've had a lot of conversations, surprisingly, with people. I think I've come from a family of very tall men. And so I've always kind of felt comfortable around tall men and felt like I should be with a tall man. And so, like I said, when I met my husband, one of my first thoughts was, well, he's kind of on the shorter side, but I'll give him a try. And then as I got to know him and as I got to care about him and to love him, I realized that not only was I comfortable with that, I loved it. And I still love it. We're always on the same level when we cuddle, when we talk, when we walk, and I love it. And I've had this conversation with other friends they're single and have specifically said, if the guy's too short, I won't talk to him.
We know a lot of women like that.
I tell them, you don't understand. That might not be, you think that's the most important thing. It might not be. Right. You might meet someone really, really wonderful. And not only will you get over that, you'll actually love it. And you just don't know what that is for you.
That's such a good point, because sometimes when we're so stuck in dating fatigue and think, what is it? What is it that I'm doing wrong? What is it about, me not finding the right person? It could just be that one simple thing that you can't mentally get over. And for women, a lot of times it's height.
Yeah.
It's a big one.
Yeah.
So after all this, what was kind of the hardest thing about saying yes all the time?
The hardest thing was actually the most fun thing was I had never before this, I'd never been someone who could ever understand women who dated multiple men because I felt like my attention is on one guy and I can't give other guys my attention. But once I started doing that, like I said, men were falling out of the sky. It was insane. And so I would go on date after date. It became my part-time job. I had a date every day after work, nonstop, every weekend, 4 dates. It was crazy. And so what became really wonderful about it was I didn't have the time to really obsess over anyone. And so they were all really, really coming after me. I'd be on a date with one guy and one would be texting me and while another was calling me and I was with a guy. So I wasn't paying attention.
Right.
And it really made me, for the first time in my life, really look at things from the perspective of not, am I good enough for this guy? Is this guy going to really like me? But is he good enough for me? And because I think I had been able to step away from kind of the obsessing, is this guy into me? That's what gave me that perspective.
And it felt like you had options too.
I had so many options.
Which we always say options can be bad, but they also can be good because it makes you not just be with someone that you're pining after, you feel like it's the reverse, like you just said. I like this person? Yeah.
And I'd never really looked at it from that perspective. And it was really nice. I felt like I carried myself differently because I was like, wait a minute. A guy's really got to be good enough for me. He's really got to appreciate everything about me and adore everything about me if he's going to be the one I choose after all of this.
And what was your dating life like before all of this?
I wasn't really dating anyone. I just felt like I had a very different perspective. I mean, I tried online dating. It wasn't for me. It felt very forced to me. And also, I had just moved to DC and I realized very quickly that it was kind of a small scene. I think it's similar here where everyone's kind of interconnected and it was just kind of got awkward very fast. I remember waiting for a guy for a date and running into a girl I'd met once or twice. And she's like, oh, who are you waiting for? And I said, my date. She said, what's his name? And I said his name. She goes, oh, I went on a date with him last week. Have fun. And I'm like, what? And so I felt like that was the online scene. It wasn't very good for me. And then also, after that, I don't know. I did feel kind of closed off. I felt like I was in my own head. I felt also like, I don't even know if I want to live here forever. I don't know if this is where I'm going to end up. Why should I even bother? And I was projecting that without knowing, and I had this idea in my head and so I really wasn't dating anyone at all.
And negativity is contagious. If you're
Exactly.
negative, you're carrying that energy with you, even though you're not vocalizing it. People around you can feel it and
Totally.
they absorb it as well.
Right.
I have to say that this is way harder said than done, right? Way harder done than said. Wait,
Yeah.
is that how it goes?
Yeah.
Because it takes energy to be positive all the time.
Mhm.
It takes energy to be welcoming. It takes energy to be approachable. So I would say you don't need to be like this all the time. You don't.
It's
No.
unnatural either.
I
Like,
think
it can't
unnatural.
be forced either.
It is, but it's like I said, wearing this sign, it was crazy to me how fast it spiraled. How from that first moment when I said, I'm just going to say yes to this guy, right after that, it was every day, wherever I was, places I would go all the time, the grocery store, like I said, the metro, my school. I constantly was getting attention and I wasn't dressing different. Nothing about me was different. It was just that I was exuding this kind of like openness that I hadn't.
Yeah.
And it was just like, seriously, men were falling from the sky. Like, I don't know how it happened. But it was just, I mean, a construction worker was out working outside of my apartment and he'd been working there for months. And suddenly one day I'm walking down the stairs and he asked me if I want to go have coffee. And I said yes, and I did. And
why not?
it just, exactly. And so that was what was really, I think, interesting.
I want to dive into this even more, but before we do, let's take a quick break to hear from our partners. When it comes to holiday gifting, I want to give things that people really love. Beautiful, timeless pieces they'll wear for years. That's why I'm going with Quince. From Mongolian cashmere sweaters to Italian wool coats, everything is premium quality at a price that actually makes sense. Quince truly has something for everyone too. I'm obsessed with their cashmere sweaters, so much that I own 3 of them. They are so soft and luxurious, and they never pill. It feels like they should cost over $200, but they are only $50. What a steal. My whole wardrobe at this point is pretty much Quince. The craftsmanship shows in every detail, the stitching, the fit, the drape. It's elevated, timeless, and made to wear on repeat. I have my eye on their jewelry, pajamas, and robes that are definitely making it on my gift list. I may just need to buy the stainless steel bracelet Apple Watch band for myself too. Find gifts so good you'll want to keep them with Quince. Go to quince.com/dateable for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/dateable to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/dateable.
This holiday season, comfort is knowing your home is filled with natural, sustainable comfort for a healthier environment for me and my family. As the holidays fill up with gatherings, travel, and to-do lists, Avocado Green mattress products can transform your home into a peaceful, grounding retreat made with certified organic and sustainably sourced materials. From breathable bedding to handcrafted mattresses, Avocado is all about true comfort, so you can rest, recharge, and wake up refreshed all season long. Have peace of mind that every product is thoughtfully made with the planet in mind, so you can feel good about the comfort and quality you bring into your home. With Avocado, you can enjoy deeper rest, calmer mornings, and a healthier daily routine. And with financing options with Affirm, it's easier than ever to bring Avocado to your home. Prioritize rest and recharge with Avocado's organic comfort. Head to avocadogreenmattress.com today to create your natural oasis and save big during the holiday sale. Avocado, dream of better. Imagine having a dating coach in your pocket 24/7 and a daily guide so you're never lost. That's exactly why we partnered with Studio.com to create the Finding Your Person coaching app. Now, we were blown away by their AI technology that creates a completely customizable experience based on exactly what you're going through. After 10 years of doing Dateable, we kept hearing the same thing. I wish I had support in the moment when I'm actually dealing with this stuff. So we finally created it. And honestly, we've been so excited about this launch because it brings together the tech we've always wanted, everything we've learned from talking to thousands of daters, and the core content from our most popular course, Finding Your Person, the one that sells out every single time. And inside the app, you'll follow a personalized journey designed to help you get clear on what you want, build real confidence, and break the patterns that keep tripping you up. You'll get quick audio lessons, guided reflections, and simple real-world challenges that make dating feel intentional without the pressure. And there's even AI-powered audio journaling for real-time feedback and encouragement, a coach you can talk to, and insights to identify patterns and growth. Give it a few months and you'll see the difference. Less spiraling, more clarity, and a dating approach that actually feels hopeful and grounded. It's like having a wise, honest coach at your disposal. If you're ready for support that actually sticks and transforms, go to studio.com/dateable and start your journey with the Finding Your Person coaching app today.
So was there any times that you wanted to say no or wish you had said no?
Any regrets?
Let's see. I think the only regret, so like I said, the smoker was kind of hard because I knew that wasn't something that was for me and I wasn't going to like ask him to quit or anything. But I think my only regret was when I did this, I was 29 and I'd met a guy who was 22 who immediately I thought he's way too young, but I said yes. And he fell kind of hard and very quickly.
Wow.
And I felt really, really sad and really sorry for how sweet and wonderful he was, but it just was not a good connection. And
right, you just weren't in the same life stage at all.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that, I remember how sad it was, like ending things with him. And that made me sad.
So it's almost like you felt a little bad that it was like, almost like not, I don't want to say an experiment for you, but in a way it was kind of like this thing, but for him it might have been like.
Yeah.
But he said for him it was a learning experience.
I was going to say, he learned from that. He's 22 years old.
Right, exactly.
Now he's probably with some wonderful woman because of
That's
your,
true.
Exactly.
your
I've actually
interaction.
had a couple of the guys after be like, oh my God, like, you know, we had this really great experience and it made me start wanting to just meet other people.
Oh my God,
so that
I
was
love
really
this. It's like the...
See, this is how the way I see it. I would say 90% of people who are walking out and about are unapproachable. So that 10% where you belong, Sheryl, you're like a ray of light for these people. You really stand out. Just one simple smile,
totally.
a little eye contact, and open body language really sets you apart. And that positivity is contagious, right?
Yes.
Well, I found like remember we did the 7-day challenge for trying to meet more people in real life. And like I found in my elevator at work, people were really receptive to small talk and like having conversations. And I think it was almost like refreshing to them when I like said hello and smiled because they just weren't used to getting that from anyone.
Yeah.
I was shocked how much people like wanted to engage with it.
Yeah.
So I actually, one of the guys I dated was very, very, very shy and told me, and I've never dated anyone shy before, and told me that he didn't know how to talk to women.
Oh.
And I said, I think you're wrong. And so we kind of practiced it together, you know, just like, what,
So you
what
really
would you say to
helped
me?
him.
And the funny thing was, this was in DC. I moved to San Francisco, and about a year or two after that, I meet a friend, and she invites me to her apartment, and I'm over, and she lives in a group house. And on her fridge, I see a picture of him, and it's a save the date for his wedding.
Oh, wow.
And I said, I dated that guy, and now he's happily married. And
you're like, you're welcome.
I don't know, but yeah.
Like, I got you out of your shell.
Yeah.
Well, these are all interactions and experiences. They all compound into bigger experiences and bigger results. So I think the little impact, think about this, right? You're being selfless in some ways. The little impact you can have on someone by bringing that positivity will then spiral into them bring that to someone else.
Right.
You're paying it forward.
Yeah. He started feeling more comfortable talking to other people. And the really interesting thing to me, I think, so this went on for a couple of months. The last month of it was the most intense, which was when I got really tired at the end and I was like, I need a little break. But it went on for a couple of months. And I didn't realize until I met my husband. He asked me the first date we went on, he said, are you dating anyone? And I realized when he asked me that, he was the first guy who had asked me that of all the guys. The first one to say, are you dating anyone or anyone else? And it kind of blew my mind a little bit. Then I realized that just interesting that like maybe no one cared. I mean, you know, I think that they were dating other people or maybe they weren't. I don't know. But there was no, you know, like I said, nothing ever really got any very serious. We were all getting to know each other. And then for my husband to say, are you dating anyone? I thought, wow, this guy is really interested. Like no one has asked me this. And then when I said yes, he said, well, I am too. And I'm going to end that right now. And I said, well, I am too. And then he said, and I want to know what you want. I'm like, for what? And he said, in a relationship. And I was floored. I realized all of this time, no one had asked me that. And I'd never really thought about exactly that. Just that, the guy was good enough for me. And it really made me think, wow, what do I want in a relationship? And I thought, oh, he's really serious right from the beginning. Because he said, I want to know what it is before I can promise it to you. I want to know that I can give you that before I promise it.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was able to go back on everything I'd learned, things I didn't want, things I did want.
Yep.
Put it all kind of together and say, well, this is what I want in a relationship. And
that's awesome. I think obviously it just showed that he was in a serious place. So that was important. But I think also some of the men just might not have been there, right? They might just not have been serious. But then there could have been some of them that just were like, oh, I don't want to move too fast or do all this stuff to scare her off and all that. Right. And it's almost like a reassurance that it's actually better to ask those questions.
Definitely. And
put it out there. Because it does show that you're serious. And it makes you stand out from everyone else.
It did. It really woke me up wow, this guy is serious. And it doesn't matter, like I said, that he's shorter than I want. It doesn't matter that he might have a visa and might be leaving. He's actually really interested.
Right.
I'm just floored by how many people don't have these conversations while they're dating.
They don't.
And you know what? The more you put this question off, then the less you'll know what you actually want. Because until someone asks you what you want in a relationship, you probably can't even articulate it.
No.
Right. It takes practice.
And like Julie said, people don't ask these questions and you don't really think about it, and then when someone puts it in front of you and you think, all right, well, let me think about it. You go back on all those experiences. You think about all the bad things, all the good things, and then you're really able to know what it is you want. And I feel like I told him, had I not just had all this, what I just went through, not only would it be harder for me to say what I want, it would be harder to know, I feel like, not only what I want, what I need, any of that. I wouldn't know that as clearly.
Well, a lot of dating advice tells you not to ask this stuff.
Right.
It's the opposite.
I know, in which I always... I always roll my eyes at it. I'm like, these are important questions. Get them out of the way first.
In the beginning.
Go before you invest more time and feelings into that person. It's ridiculous.
Because people don't want to come off that they are too invested.
It's all a game.
I know.
I told someone today, I was like, oh, my boyfriend and I have been talking about when we want kids. And he went, you guys have already had that conversation? I'm like, yes, we had it in our first month of dating. These are questions that are important to me. Why wouldn't we have this conversation? He was like, wow, he must be really serious. And I'm like, okay.
That's the other thing. That. I think you get used to saying exactly what you're feeling, exactly what you're thinking, and either that person stays or they go.
Yeah.
And if they go, well, that wasn't going to work out anyway.
It's
and if
better.
they stay, exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I think that there are some takeaways here, and I want to talk about those. But one of them is you are the driver of your life. You are behind the steering wheel. So if you're in a place where you're looking for something, you should go out there and get it and stop thinking about, well, is it too early to ask this question? Is it too forward to approach this person? This is your life. Right? And if you get rejected, you get rejected. That's a blip in your lifeline. But in the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't matter. You're in the driver's seat. Go out there and get it. What I do want to talk about is the balance of saying yes and filtering. Because if people said yes to everyone in online dating, they wouldn't have jobs. They would probably wouldn't be able to do anything in life. They'd just be going on dates. So how can people balance that?
So that's a good question because I didn't do it online. I did it in person. So it definitely would be trickier online. But I guess if there is some part of you holding back and being scared, this person looks interesting. Would they really be into me? Don't ask that. Don't worry about that. Worry about if they're good enough for you. So if you think they're someone that you might have a connection with, go and reach out to them, whether you're a girl, whether you're a guy. If you're a girl and you reach out to the guy and he's like, whoa, 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 that's my role. Well, he's not the guy for you if that's not what you want.
Well, I think Sheryl made a comment about this with the smoker. And for you, that's like a non-negotiable. Mm-hmm. So I think for you, it was great that you just said yes. But if you have this situation where you can't say yes all the time.
Of course.
So maybe it's knowing your hard, fast, non-negotiables and filtering that way, opposed to stuff like height or like stuff that really
that
doesn't
is not important
matter.
at the end of the day.
Yeah. I think another way to do this is whoever has enough guts to ask you out in person deserves some of your time. And if it's not, if it's not a date, they deserve some sort of like nice thank you. I really appreciate it. But if someone's asking you out online, it doesn't take that much effort. Right. So balance out that ratio. Go on more dates with people you meet in real life versus all the yeses and swipes that you get online dating, because that's passive. Anybody can do that.
Absolutely.
I think also like there's also this mentality of saying yes to every invite you get and every event. And like there is a side of it that's like, yeah, you never know who you're going to meet there. Agreed. But then there's also a point, like if you're just having a shitty day or you are burnt out and getting sick and tired, is it really going to be beneficial to go to this event if you're not in the right mindset? So maybe it's also checking in with where you are. Yeah. At least in my opinion, it's like not really even worth it if you're not mentally there.
Right. And to piggyback on that is that I think a lot of us love to make excuses for why I can't do this, why I don't like this person, why this is not going to work out. We should use that same energy to make excuses for yeses. Yeah. So make excuses for, this event, I don't know if I want to go to it. I'm a little tired, but I should go because here are some excuses to go. This person's not exactly my type, but I should meet them because here are some excuses for why. So flip your excuses to the yeses and see what happens there. And take an improv class. We've talked about this in previous episodes. They really teach you to just say yes to everything, but in a way that is still authentic to who you are. Not like you're just saying yes for the sake of saying yes.
Exactly. I think also to the events point, like it kind of is like similar to the deal breaker non-negotiables. Like if there's an event that's just like, I mean, yes, you could always be exposed to something new, but there's some things that you just know about yourself that you don't enjoy.
Yeah.
And I don't think you should try to put like a square peg in like a round hole. Like I think you should know yourself enough that I'm going to really thrive in these environments. Right. In these environments, I don't, and then double down where you thrive.
Right. Yeah. I think you're right.
But also push yourself out of your comfort zone every once in a while.
It's hard.
You never
it's like
know.
A hard balance.
Yeah. But if you know you're going to be negative at this event, don't
there's
go.
No point.
Right?
Really,
don't go. If you know you cannot squeeze out an ounce of positivity, then stay home. You're doing everyone a favor.
Exactly. Right. And like with the smoker, I thought, okay, do I really dislike it as much as I think I do? Let me try. Went on one date. Yeah, it bothers me as much as I thought.
And good. Yeah.
But now you know. Now you know for you that's a deal breaker. For other people it might not be, but for you it is, right?
And also when I was dating these guys, I was very easily and clearly able to say as I went along, very early on, this is not what I'm looking for. This is not what I want. And I couldn't believe how decisive I could be about it because I was never before that. I didn't know. But as time went on, I became more and more clear exactly what it was I was looking for.
If we're ready to go to takeaways, one of my takeaways is that everyone should have this dating like in masses period of their life.
Yes, definitely.
Like I think, yes, it can get draining if it goes on forever and ever, and then there's other situations going on. But personally for me, I did like the probably like 6 months of like really being out there on Tinder. And like, I think it really helped me get a feel of what I liked and what I didn't, just because you're exposed to so many people in a short period of time. So I think we can all like say that there's negatives with that, but there's also a lot of positives that come from like this like serial dating. It's just knowing when you've hit it enough that you're now focused on something real.
Right. Which is exactly like I said, I got to the point where I'm like, I need to step away from this. I need a break.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when I met him, I felt like, okay, something here feels comfortable. Something here feels real. And like I said, my roommate said red flag about the visa. And I thought, oh, too short. But I said, all right, I'm going to give this a try and see what happens.
And like you said, you were able to tell him what you were looking for in a relationship because you had not necessarily like a ton of other relationships, but you had all these like mini little relationships.
You were decisive about it.
Take from, right?
And I think another thing, like I said, another takeaway was just, I think when you do start dating more and more like that, it is easier for you to, like I said, kind of flip the script and say, is this person what I want? Is this person good enough? Because so many women, so many of my friends, they all sit there and they're like, I don't know if he likes me enough. I don't know if I do this or if I do that. If I do,
it's almost like if you don't know, that's not a good sign, right? That you're like dwelling over it.
Exactly. And as it was just complete, I was just able to see that in such a different perspective. Like, well, this is what I want. Can you fill what I want?
Yes,
Can you
exactly.
give me what I need? And if you can't, I'm moving on.
Yeah.
Right.
You're driving.
Exactly.
You're coming from a place of abundance, not of scarcity,
Exactly.
which is really important. And I think sometimes it's hard to have that mindset, especially if you're going on a lot of dates that don't pan out.
Exactly.
But it is important because then you're not just like taking what you can get. You're getting what you deserve.
Yeah.
And then the whole issue with, not the issue, but dating, having a lot of dates, right? Dating around quite a bit. Again, balance out your in real life and online dates, because I think if you go on too many online dates, it really fatigues you.
Yep.
And if you try to go find too many in real life dates, it fatigues you too, because you're like, this is way harder. So try to balance the two. But I would say this to the women of San Francisco. The biggest complaint I hear from men is that women are not receptive, yet we want men to approach us. It's a double-edged sword, right? On one hand, we're like, when I go out, I wish more men would be aggressive and come up to me. On the other hand, when they do come up to me, I don't say anything back to them, or I'm not receptive.
Right.
So if you want to be approached, if you want men to be more aggressive, everybody, this applies to me as well. Let's be more approachable, being more open.
And I liked what you said about it spiraling. So even if you're not into someone, you're like paying it forward, because now you're giving that guy confidence to go up to the next girl where he might not have if you shut him down completely.
Right.
Definitely.
I think my last takeaway with this, and something we've talked about before on our body image episode, is like so much of us fixate on the outward appearance. And like you said, nothing changed for you physically. It was only your mindset, mentality, and like that came from your appearance in terms of like smiling. There was no like weight loss or like major transformation that occurred.
One of my tests with people is, we get a lot of people who ask us to set them up. And my first question is always, what are you looking for? And if they mention anything superficial in their first three attributes, I always say, well, you're not ready to date.
Yep.
Because it's true. If someone's like, I'm looking for someone tall, I want them to be, like dark hair,
like
and I want them to
girls
be
only.
Yeah, I want them to be slim. Then I go, nope, you're not ready to date. If they say, oh, I'm looking for someone caring, looking for someone who can be empathetic towards my current situation, then I know, okay, you know yourself and you know what you're looking for.
Totally.
The last takeaway I have is, I think this whole idea of saying yes, again, takes a lot of energy, takes a lot of time and effort. So make an event out of it. I had a girlfriend in New York who would get dressed up for her yes days. So she would say, Fridays are my yes days. This is a day where I'm going to look my best. I'm going to go out there, smile at everybody that comes my way, and make a thing out of it. So if you made a thing out of it, it gives you motivation. It's exciting because you never know. The possibilities are endless. And also it gives you something else to do rather than being at home and swiping through all the apps.
Right.
Right. And then, like you said, if you get the positive results that will naturally come with that, then it kind of like takes care of itself. Yeah. And I think also if you're doing activities and things that you love, like if you know yourself well enough to be like, I love doing this, it's not as hard to say yes.
Yeah.
Because you want to say yes.
And I think, exactly. Because I also never changed what I was doing, which was interesting. I was doing all the things I already enjoyed. I wasn't doing anything different. And I used to say, oh, well, I work in my field is 98% female. I'm never going to meet a guy at a work environment. I'm never going to meet a guy here. I'm never going to meet a guy here. I had that mentality. And then after I changed it, I was going the same places. I was doing the same things, yet I was meeting all these men.
Right. Well, I think sometimes when you're like, oh, I need to say yes to every singles event and say yes to these like forced events.
Right. Just live your life. Do your thing. Go where you're going to go. Do what you're going to do.
You're almost like, because you're trying so hard to say
don't
yes,
try
that
too
it's
hard.
like counterproductive.
No, just do your thing. And to that, I was also going to say, in the beginning when I was talking about the job offer in Bahrain, I would never tell someone, if they got this great job offer or there was something they were really excited about, to base it on a man. I don't want it to sound like I'm saying that, because I've lived in lots of places and I've lived on my own. And Something about when I got the offer, I thought, this sounds really great, but what I really, really would like in my life is to meet someone great. So I'm going to focus on that right now. And hey, if that doesn't work, I can do this. But that's what I'm going to focus on.
I think a lot of us are like set. It's almost bad to say that's what you want. Like a relationship.
I know, stigmatized.
Right. I was fine to say it's what I want. I just don't want to send the message that, because I also felt like if I did go there and I went with the feeling like if I'm meant to meet someone here, I'll meet somebody here. You never know. I mean, I could have met other people.
So
there,
I read this book called Finding Your Half Orange is what it's called. And it was actually like, I thought like one of the best like dating books that I've read, because it's not really dating. It's basically about being like radiating optimism. And the whole point of it is like putting out in the universe like what you want. So like when you say like, oh, what am I looking for? And it's like kind of hiding the fact that you want a relationship. Instead of doing that, being like, I want a relationship. And then that's what will come. So I think there's something to be said about it, like almost like shifting your mindset and what your appearance is outwards.
Yeah, and it helps your friends if they want to set you up, because again, I've said this before, some of my friends, I don't even know if they're single because they've actually never told me that they're looking for a relationship. And they come to find out, they're like, Yue, how come you've never set me up with one of your friends? I'm like, I had no idea that's what you were looking for. So if this is something you're looking for, if you're looking to meet someone, say it. Say it out loud. Tell everyone.
Like it sounds a little hokey, but like,
it's like if you're looking for a job, right? If you're looking for a job, you're going to tell everyone you know because you're trying to work your network. It's the exact same thing. In fact, I think it's even more important than finding a job. I want to do this quick exercise, the yes and exercise, just to demonstrate what they do in improv class. So I'm going to throw it to Sheryl. Ask you a question. You have to answer with a yes and then you throw a question to Julie. She has to answer and then she throws a question to me. Okay. All right. Sheryl, are you super hot right now?
Yes, and I've always been hot. Julie, do you want to get married?
Yes, and I want to find the love of my life. Yue, I want to ask you.
Ask something that's like not me. So Julie, you'd be terrible at improv.
I'm like, do you want to get a cat? Like that.
Yue, do you want to trade Mojo in for a cat?
Yes, because I would love to have a fur animal in my life that I'm allergic to.
But she said yes.
Okay, let's go on to our question of the day.
Our question of the day comes from Devin. Everyone keeps saying that I need to put myself out there more, but I'm just exhausted. And when I do go out, it feels like I just end up talking to my friends. So sometimes I'd rather just lay low and watch Netflix. I should mention I'm pretty introverted and don't get energized by people. I realize I won't meet anyone by sitting on the couch, and I do like to meet up with people one-on-one. What are some ideas you have for me so I can get out there but not burn myself out?
This is okay. I love this question because I know people who thrive in one-on-one situations, but they don't thrive in social situations. They're not like the one getting all the attention when they step into a room, but when you do talk to them one-on-one, they're amazing, right? So I would say to Devin is first and foremost, it's good that you know this about yourself. Good for you. That takes a lot of self-reflection.
Yeah, definitely.
Some of us are just introverted and some of us are extroverted introverts. So I'm in that category. First of all, communicate this to your friends. They should know that this is not something like being at a big party. It's not something that you're really into, but communicate to your friends. I really enjoy intimate one-on-one situations. So your friends may set you up on, blind dates maybe, or two, find these events where it's smaller scale, like those small dinner parties,
like 500
brunches where you're only with like 6 or 7 other people.
For me, I definitely thrive in that situation a lot better than like the big event. Like I feel like I really do end up talking to my friends mostly in situations like that. But to play off 500 brunches again, like what I loved about that was that it was like 6 to 8 people. So a fairly small group and everyone kind of comes solo. So you're almost like all like in the same boat and you're like forced to sit and have a meal together. And then there's Feastly and Eat With. Like there's a bunch of other different ones too, or it doesn't have to just be food either. But like finding stuff that like fits that is a really good technique, I think.
Yep.
There's a lot of events like that now on Airbnb, for example. There are like things going on around and they could be a group of 3 people or 5 people.
Right. And also I think like, on Eventbrite, because I've never really used Eventbrite to find events, but they have this Amazon model where if you go to one event that you liked, they'll recommend other events just like it.
Yep.
So if you find one that you really like, you'll find a whole bunch of other ones that are just related. So I would say that, but then also don't avoid the issue either. I think there's nothing wrong with saying I'm uncomfortable in the situation, but I'm going to work on getting more comfortable. It's still a point of improvement, right? You can still improve upon these things.
Right.
It's not so much like, oh, I need to avoid all of these events altogether. It's okay. Just, sometimes you're better in a situation where you're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone.
Or it's balancing it. Like maybe it's not doing it 3 nights in a row because you're going to really know yourself that you're just going to burn out. Like maybe it's just like finding one a month that seems really interesting to you that you're excited about and then build up from there.
Yeah.
It's also, I think, feeling not like there's certain expectations. Like some people feel, okay, well, I can't go out and try to meet people until I lose weight or until I get a job or until I this or that. And so to think kind of, I can't even try because I'm quiet and I'm introverted and that's not what someone's looking for.
Yeah.
Of course, someone could be looking for that. People are looking for all kinds of things. Everyone is different.
Or online dating could be a good bet for someone that's more introverted because it is one-on-one when you actually do meet them.
Yeah.
So you might need someone that is more introverted too, or you might need someone to bring you out of your shell.
And if you're so aware of this, which is amazing, you could tell people that. I mean, if you are talking to someone online, you could say, hey, just so you know, I'm pretty quiet, or I'm only comfortable one-on-one, or I'm that kind of person. And maybe that person's super social and they want someone super social and it's not for them. Or maybe they're like, oh, me too. That's such a relief. You never know.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely. Also, just have like a close friend who is that social butterfly. And sometimes it's great to have that person around because they can fly you around to different groups and introduce you versus you having to do the work. And lastly, Devin, I would say everyone says you should put yourself out there, but you're just exhausted by it. So my question would be, do you want to put yourself out there? Are you looking for a relationship? Are you looking to date more? If that's the case, then you need to work on getting yourself out there. There is nothing that can happen from staying at home and watching Netflix. I can guarantee you that. Unless if someone randomly comes to your door because
DoorDash delivery guy.
I was going to say,
the odds are low.
Or your neighbor who wants to watch the exact same Netflix show. The odds are really, really low. So if you want something, you still have to make the effort, make the time, and go do it.
Maybe it's, I think we said, just like balancing it, like having your Netflix night if you need to like get that downtime, and then coupling that with more of a night out that you could actually meet people.
Love it. Okay. Any last words of advice for our listeners?
I did have one more, also in terms of what you can learn from all this.
Oh yeah.
I feel every day I appreciate my husband and everything about him because I know what's out there. Because I've had those experiences.
It's true, though. It's so true.
And he's told me the same thing, that had he met me before all of the experiences he had, he wouldn't appreciate me the way he does.
Yeah.
So I always remember that. I always remember just how grateful and lucky I am. And I never take any of that for granted because I know how hard it is because I went through all of it.
Well, the reality is most people aren't going to be your match.
Right.
Like, they're not. So like when you do actually find that person, you're like, okay, no, because I've seen it all and I have comparison.
Exactly.
But you're so grateful for all the people that you met along the way.
Of course, definitely. Because they all brought me there.
Exactly.
And listeners, we are so grateful for you for tuning in. We would love to have you as a guest on our show. Again, we can always keep your identity anonymous to protect you, or you can just come like Sheryl and be like, I'm Sheryl. This is my story.
I said yes.
I said yes. And say yes more. Say yes more. Tell the universe what you want. On that note, last but not least, stay dateable.
Shopify is a global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business and sell more with less effort thanks to the Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/redcircle, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/redcircle now to grow your business no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/redcircle.